Anything for Selena. Hi everyone, I'm Gabriel Zamora and thank you so much for watching. For today's video, I wanted to do a palette video. All my go-to eyeshadow palettes. These are like my favorite that I always kind of have with me and I always kind of keep in my kit. Sometimes I play with different palettes as they get sent to me in PR, but these that I'm about to show you are like my go-tos, and there are some new ones in here that I'm like, it's already a staple for me and I know I'm obsessed with it. I wanted to create this video just so I give you an idea as to what palettes I like and why I like them. I know that sometimes the makeup community just shells out a lot of palettes all at once and it could be a little bit overwhelming because palettes are expensive. They're not the most inexpensive products when it comes into the makeup world. Regardless of what palette I'm using, I still have these with me. So I wanted to show you why I love them so much. So without further ado, let's get right into it. That was like a weak little transition. So my first go-to palette, which became my first obsession, was the Tarte Styled by Hrush. I'm only gonna briefly talk about this because it is no longer available for sale. It was my first palette that I got from Tarte. As you can tell, it's used and abused. This is the best blush ever. It's like Peaches, but lighter, the one by MAC. And then all these shadows are just like, honestly, just staple eyeshadows that you could possibly have in an eyeshadow palette. And they're not too overly pigmented to where you can really build up the color, which I really like. And it smells like chocolate. Oh my God. I don't know if you know this, but like a lot of the Tarte products now smell really good. And this is the first Tarte product where I was like, oh my God, it smells amazing. My second obsession, this was my first Kylie Cosmetics purchase. Like I was on the website just waiting. Yeah, this was her first palette she came out with. This is the Bronze palette by Kylie. Y'all see me use this all the time. It's my obsession because all these colors are just staple pieces, like a dark brown, a black, a kind of like maroonish, camel, and orange. The orange I don't use a whole lot, I'm not gonna lie. This kind of like mauve-y taupe? Mauve or taupe? Taupe. This pink shimmer, a highlight color. This is like a brown shimmer. I just love it. Like honestly, it's my go-to palette. Because y'all know I always do a bronzy look, even for like events. I don't care. I love a bronzy look. I know it came out before I signed with Ipsy, so it's lasted me more than 9 months, this palette. I have been playing with this palette a lot recently and I've been really liking the colors. This is the Morphe 25B palette. It's very warm and it gives you a lot more options when it comes to neutrals and warm tones. They're really good eyeshadows. Like how pigmented is that? Like look at that. My God, that's like a shimmer. And then this kind of like camel brown, so pretty. Like it's just a gorgeous, I mean, it's honestly like my skin tone, but still. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it doesn't have a black, but I love that it has a clear kind of case to it because you can see through it, you can see what palette you have. If you're gonna get a Morphe palette for the first time or you're really getting into eyeshadow palettes, I definitely recommend the 35O. I know it's probably the most popular and it actually doesn't have a black. How interesting. I don't always use it, I'm not gonna lie. I have it with me and I have used it like a couple of times, but it has a lot of browns, it has a lot of shimmers, it has like very warm tones. I'd probably recommend this one because it's a lot more warmer and you can use a lot more colors. But if you already have like a go-to bronzy palette and you wanna like amp up and like deepen the earth tones, I would definitely suggest the 25B by Morphe. And these are probably the most affordable out of all my palettes. This was my second Kylie Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. The burgundy palette I didn't personally live for. This was the, what is this called? Royal Peach palette. This is what it looks like and it's beautiful. This one actually comes with a brush and a mirror. So if you like that, that's great. I don't care if an eyeshadow palette has a mirror because honestly, I always use a handheld mirror so I can like move around. This green has been literally my go-to. I've been obsessed with it. And in comparison to the bronze palette, some of the colors look the same, but they don't have the same color when you actually put it on skin, if that makes sense. Like this camel color looks so similar to the one in the bronze palette. I was like, oh, it's probably the same thing. No, it's a lot more pink as opposed to the more yellow brown in the bronze palette. And then the shimmers are really gorgeous. This blue is just like everything. Just honestly really like this packaging. Just Kylie. It's just beautiful. It reminds me of like my packaging of my neon sign. Gabriel. Up next, this is the Androgyny palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. This packaging alone, I was like, I need this in my life. And then my best friend was in the campaign, Nikita Dragon, so I had to definitely support. This is such a beautiful palette if you love color. The thing about Jeffree Star Cosmetics products is that the pigmentation is on 100. It's not always like my go-to palette. I do use other palettes, but when I want to be more bold and have like really, really good color payoff, I definitely reach for this palette. It's so just like color, and that's what I really, really like. I've seen people do the most beautiful looks with this. I love the gold and this kind of like bronzy color, and the taupe is honestly such a beautiful, I think that's taupe, but it's called Safe Word, but it's such a beautiful palette. Okay, and last but certainly not least, this is a new addition to my go-to palette. This is the Nars Narcissist Loaded Palette. I have been obsessed with it. Y'all saw it in my monthly favorites last month. The taupe and of course the camel color is beautiful. It has a black, which I really, really like, but these shimmer colors are honestly just gorgeous, and they're buildable. That's what I really, really like about it. Like, oh my God, look at that color payoff. Like, oh my God. I know this is like not a necessary thing, but I like to put like my foundations on here before. I never do eyeshadow before I do foundations. The pigments are really, really good. It's Nars. Nars is just a really, really good brand, and it's gonna be like honestly one of my go-to palettes. And on my eyes today, I'm actually wearing this little nugget. This is the Morphe 25B, but I was also digging in the black of the Kylie Cosmetics bronze palette for like the faux liner, because it's not actual eyeliner, it's eyeshadow. I don't do liner, you guys. Y'all know it's rough for me. I use the gold like on the lid. I use this kind of like brownish burgundy in the crease, as well as this kind of brown. And I actually laid down the faux liner with the brown first, this brown right here, just to create that gradient effect. So that's what I have on my eyes today. And those are my go-to palettes, you guys. Those are my favorite palettes. If you guys like more videos like this, I know y'all liked my favorite foundations for oily skin, so I decided to do a go-to eyeshadow palette. I don't know, let me know down in the comments section what you would like to see next. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you're not, make sure you subscribe and you turn on that little notification bell so you know exactly when I upload. And until next time, bye everyone. Are my eyes even open today? I just have small eyes.